Hey guys, we're back. This time we're taking a look at Gemini Gauntlet by Lavender Studios. And this is a cool space racing game that's kind of chaos. It's a programming game where you're setting a flight path through this asteroid field to go to these checkpoints. Each of the player boards is asymmetrical with slightly different abilities, and you can even customize those. And throughout the course of the game, things get damaged, your programming gets messed up, and it just devolves into chaos, which is fun. And I enjoy it. So we're going to get right in and take a look. So first thing we have here is our rule book, and it's not overly thick, which is a good thing. We have a table of contents in here and a little introduction about the game. We have a components list. I love when they lay out specific components, especially if you ever buy a game used. I like knowing that everything's there. We have an overview, tells you what everything is and how they work. And then we finally get into setup. So we have one page here for setup with a nice explanation image. We have one page that's dedicated to basically the round sequence and the objectives. Into the actual rules itself here. The different ship systems and what they do. There's only a couple of them, and then they have numbers basically for distance. So you have your straight board, and then the numbers how many spaces you go forward. The 2 there has a special thing where it allows you to jump over something. And then you have your normal sliding to the side, rotating your ship, come about. Then there's special things like the armor plating and shields, repairs, swap, and teleport. Those are kind of unique to specific ships. Then we have basically a playthrough of the first turn, how to resolve your first action. And then a section on ship collisions, which is going to happen a lot. You're going to run into each other. You're going to run into asteroids. It's going to happen. It's part of the game. Then all the asteroids are going to move. And then you assign your damage at the end of the round. There's advanced rules. There's a league scoring thing and everything, which is kind of cool. So you can do back-to-back races. There's a team variant in here. Then there's a little cheat sheet on the back of the round sequence. Leave this face up so you can go right down the list as you play. I love that they have references. So when you get to each of these, it tells you what page to reference if you need further clarification on something. Really good rule book, I think. Never actually heard of the game studio before, but I loved the quality of this game. The board is an odd shape, which I've never seen before. I don't even know if I can get it all on camera here. Zoom out a little bit. But it has 2 major sections here. At the bottom, this is where your race gates are going to go, and all your player tokens are going to start here. Gate 1, Gate 2, Gate 3, Gate 4, and the finish line. These are the launching pads that you're going to start from. You can fly through these later in the turn, but you can't have a gate or anything on those. This is where you start from. You're going to go out, do your lap to all your checkpoints, come back, and land on any one of these. All the rest of these grids is where the various pieces of the board are going to be laid out. If you look really closely, I don't even know if my camera can pick it up. Maybe on some of the darker ones, there are numbers printed. Yeah, you can see some of those. The ones on the whiter tiles are really hard to see. But you can see the numbers on there. There is a system you're going to be using to lay out various tiles in the various spaces. Afterward, you put them all face down. They're going to be flipped face up, and that's going to make your course. There's also a little compass up here. It's got a die 6 on it, and it basically tells you which direction things are going to be moving on the hexes when things happen. Over here in the box, we have probably one of the best factory inserts I've seen for a game like this. And it's completely usable, which I like. So We have a bag here. I don't know if the bags came with it. I want to say they did, but this baggie here has got all of our track components in it. Next we have these tiles that you're going to be used to build out the course with. On the back side they have these question marks, and you're going to be putting these out on the map based on a setup in the book. You can't have two things next to each other, so they all got to be at least one space apart. That's going to change during the course of the game. Some of these are just asteroids, and they have a letter and a number on them. Some of them are the gates for the actual track, so you're not going to know where gate D is for the track until this pops up. And of course, these are going to be rotating and moving around the board. The reason they have the numbers is they move in order from 1, 2 to 3, and then whatever letter is currently active. And what's going to happen is you're going to have your track set up, and then all of asteroid B are going to move. And you'll have B there, there's a B there, and depending on what number you roll on here, they're all going to move. And then they can make chain reactions. If, say, they're moving this way, it hits that one's going to move instead, and so on. They can bounce off the edge of the map, cause damage, cause havoc and chaos, and that's kind of one of the cool aspects of the game. Next we have all the faction ship tokens here, and these are what are going to go down here on this grid, which is off camera, to keep track of which checkpoints you've gone through. And we have the various tokens here. So there's tokens for A, B, C, D, E, and F, I believe, for gates. And the catch is there's only going to be 4 gates down here. And these are going to be randomized with them face down. And you're going to put these down here. Nobody knows what the course layout is. At the beginning of the game, you're going to flip over this first one. So gate C is going to be our first gate. And you're going to look at all these different asteroids that are out on the map. And gate C, wherever it is going to be our first gate. Which is right there. And the way the gates work is they have a little laser on them. When you put this here, say it's facing this direction, you have to pass through one of these 2 squares, or hexes, in order for it to count. Thing is, these are going to be moving around the whole time and just generally causing chaos. If for some reason the gate ever gets blocked, because it's like that, these rotate, and they rotate either clockwise or counterclockwise based on a die roll, and that's going to change where that gate is, because now that gate is here, or if it goes this way, now it's here. The real thing here is that nobody knows what the next gate is, so you try to set yourself up, and you say, you know, if you know you're going to this one, then this one you can curve around and head towards there. Well, you don't know that. So somebody crosses this gate. Once the first person crosses that gate, the next gate is revealed, which happens to be A. So he's here now, and gate A is the next one, which is over here, which means he's got to turn around and come back. Meanwhile, people that haven't gotten there yet can go around this way and hit gate C, then A, and so on. So if you're behind, you get a little bit of extra knowledge of knowing what the next gate is and how to proceed. We also have, like I said, a token for each of the different factions, and they're going to go down here, and as those people score and pass gates, they're going to go through. First person to get back to a landing pad after passing all the gates is the winner. So that's kind of it for the track layouts. Turn order is based on these tiles and based on the number of players. You're going to shuffle these up, deal these out based on the number of players, and you get a number of boost tokens equal to whatever position you're starting in. So you can see some have 2, some have 3. I think number 1 only has 1. No, that's 2. And these boost tokens, that's going to be your player order, are these little blue crystals. And you can use these at any time to add a number to one of your skills, which we should probably get into now. These are all the player boards, and they're double thickness. They're double layered boards. On one side, they are blank, and they have these empty slots. And there are tokens which you can use to fill in the slots. Those are damage tokens. These are the tokens you use to fill in the slots to customize your ship. And you can mix and match to your heart's content once you're familiar with the game to really customize out what your ships can do. On the other side is the base starter side. You have your faction over here. Has an icon of your ship so you know which one is yours. And then you have two rows over here. You're going to get these little tokens, which I love. They're like acrylic. And you get two. You get a pink and a blue. The blue one is number 1 and the pink is number 2. Secretly, without any of the other players knowing, you're going to take your number 1 and your number 2 and you're going to play them on some of your abilities. Now the catch is number 1 always goes first. It doesn't matter which row you place it in. You pick one of the icons. So in this case, maybe we want to go 1 to the left and then we want to go 3 forward. So your number 1 is always going to trigger first. Everybody plays simultaneously, so once you're done programming these, you reveal them. Everybody's number 1 goes off. So in this case, wherever our ship is, so in this case, where these guys, say we had started here, we're going to make a rotate 90 degrees, because that's what we chose to do. If we had put our boost there, you could upgrade that 1 to a 2, which we don't need to do because we have that there. But then we have our 3 forward, which we did here, which is our second move. But before you get to your second move, everybody's going to complete their blue maneuver. Then the asteroids are going to go. And you roll a number and a letter. So in this case, all of the D's are going to go in the direction of 5. 5 here is to the southwest. So you're going to go find D, and you're going to start with D1, which should be the gate, wherever that is. And they're not in the right place, but D1 would move 1 this way. Then you go to D2, wherever D2 is. And D2 is going to move 1 that way. And I don't see D2. Why do I not see it? Who knows? Maybe I didn't get them all out. But you're going to go through, there's D2 right there. So that's going to go 1 that way. And then D3 is here, it goes 1 that way. So that may change the course, and you may think you have a hole to go in between 2 of these, and then suddenly this moves and blocks your hole. That sucks. But then everybody goes through and does your second icon, which in our case, we wanted to do a 3 forward. We're going to go 1, 2, 3 forward. Now we're like in a dead end of asteroids there. So we want to do something great the next turn. And that's how the basics of that work. If you ever run into another ship, you run into an asteroid or whatever, your movement stops. So say we were here and we did a 3 forward. We're going to stop here when we hit this asteroid. We take damage for that. In taking damage, you're going to draw one of these tiles. So you draw one of these damage tiles and you set it aside. At the end of the round, you're going to roll a die 6 and consult your board. In this case, we rolled a 1. On our board, you can see we have 1 through 6 up here. We're going to damage these 2 systems. We can no longer do our left slide or left rotate 1 until we repair that. Ships have things like this, which is an auto repair. If on your turn you don't take any damage, the auto repair will repair 1 damage on your ship. Alternatively, you can put one of your actions over here to take a repair action. In this case, you could repair 2. If you do both of your repair actions, you repair all 6, but you basically reboot your ship and you're not doing anything else that turn by doing so. That's the basics of those. There are, I'm not sure how many teams in total here. Let's find out together. I made these little cheat sheets that explain what each of the factions are just to make it easier for our play group. But so we have 10 different teams. They do have classifications for like easy, medium, and hard. I think it's in the rule book. But all of them have a different layout of their ship. You can see here the icons are in different places. They have different icons. This is armor plating. So if a ship with armor plating rams another ship, they deal an extra point of damage to that ship. We already went over auto repair. This guy actually has 2 armor platings, so he will not only deal an extra damage to a normal ship. If somebody has only 1 armor plating, he still has more, so he will deal an extra damage. What else do we have? There's shielding. Shielding will protect you from asteroids. You don't take damage when colliding with asteroids. Then there's the various teleporting options. And then the sideways one, which normally you could only move your orthogonal along the flat lines of the hexes. That specific movement there allows you to move this way along the thin line here on the corners of your hexes. The big thing is to remember the orientation of your ship. So if your ship is facing this way, you're clockwise and counterclockwise. You have to remember it's still going to turn you clockwise or counterclockwise. Your sliding is what becomes an issue when your ship is facing towards you. Your slide left, slide right are going to be this way. So you will slide diagonal this way too. Those take a little getting used to, but 10 different factions. Like I said, I made these cool little cheat sheets that just basically have the stories. I think these are in the actual rule book for each of the factions. They do give you a couple blank tokens. I don't know if they were just extra on the board or you want to make your own custom things with them, but they're there. And then you have these really cool 3D cutouts for the ships. And they have a token basically of the ship that matches your player board. They have a base that matches the color. And then they have this little foam block so they stand up and they're 3D. They're kind of cool because of the way they are. You can land on other people and you can stack these up. And they're just neat that they stack like that. So that's kind of cool. They are pretty cool for us as far as tokens go. And then, as I said, we have these custom tokens here that you can use to customize the backside of your ship. Once you're more familiar with the game, you can build up a your own ship layouts, so you're not confined to just the pre-built ones, which is a neat thing that adds a lot of replayability to the game. Overall, it starts out as a pretty simple game, and I really like the programming idea that you have full knowledge going into your first thing that you program. But when it comes to your second one, anything could happen between your first action and your second action. The other ships are going to move, your ship's going to move, the asteroids could possibly move. So the first one, you have perfect knowledge of what's going on and what you're going to be doing, though you still have to compensate for other players so you don't ram into other ships. But then when it comes to that second move, it's complete chaos. And this is where some people don't much care for it because it kind of throws strategy out the window to an extent. You're hinging bets on if this is going to move in front of you and block your path. If the hole that you're shooting to go through is going to close because something moved there. Things like that. If a portal that you're planning on going through, say it's right here and it shoots across and you're right here and you're like, yeah, I'm going to go through there. Then this moves to here. Now it's blocked. It ends up rotating and now the gate's over here and you're set up over there. Things like that can completely screw you over. And I think it adds fun to the game, but I can see where some people don't like it because it takes a bit of the strategy and pre-planning away. You do have that strategy on the first action. It's just the second action can be completely random. You're taking bets on what you think is going to happen, where you think the other ships are going to be, where you think the asteroids are going to be. To me, that's still fun, and it still does take some strategy and thinking of the odds of there's a 1 in 6 chance that you roll the correct letter. And then it's a 1 in 6 chance of which direction they go based on the die roll. So that part you have no control over. So you're taking your bets on if it's going to affect you or not. Sometimes it's things are clustered all over here and this is what's going to move. It's not going to affect you at all and that's no big deal. But I love that aspect of the game. And yeah, the fact that it messes with your programming and the fact that you start taking these damages that you lose actions and suddenly, oh, I can't make left turns anymore. That's a problem. things like that come up, and it's just a cool, fun little game. You can't take it too seriously. It's definitely not a competitive thing, but it's definitely fun to just hang out with your friends and play, I think. Anyway, that is going to wrap it up for our look at Gemini Gauntlet. It's a fun little programming space racing game, and again, I really like the concept behind it. I think it has some fun mechanics, and it's just a great way to spend some time with your friends or family. Let me know down in the comments what you think about it. If it's something that you might be interested in, definitely check it out. And as always, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.